What'd you call him, bro? What'd you say?
All right. Hold
You
on,
said
man.
the pimpin'
Let me get my
dragon.
notes out so
The
everybody
pimpin'
gets on
dragon.
board. Get on board. Hold on 1 second here. Let me get my
The
notes pulled up. Hey, did you
notes, my
notice?
ass. Ryan Rupert. You said Ryan Rupert. You
All
said
right,
he
no.
was something
Before we
about a
go this,
dragon.
all
Right.
right.
What did you
So
call him?
I want to say thank you to you guys. Like Mark and I, we lost some followers recently because or subscribers because I said a joke, not a joke, a story, and it kind of rubbed people the wrong way. So we got those people back. We appreciate you guys sticking around with us and subscribing to our little fan club. But I want to get back to what I was talking about, Mark, just before we got started here, because I think it's something that's crucial to what we're looking at for the future of this Thunder. And
All
I've
right,
been
bro.
looking
Let's
at a
do
lot
it.
of film, bro. A lot of film
Yeah,
of
but
different players,
you
and
you
nothing
killing
looks
me,
like
dude.
a Thunder player, man.
Yeah, but you said
Right?
Ryan Rupert was what, dude? What did you call him, bro?
All right. You're gonna call me out there. All
You
right,
just keep dancing around it. Like, just do it. Say it.
because
What you?
it's a good name, bro. All right,
Nah,
Ray
bro.
and Rupert, in my opinion, is what we would consider a defensive dragon.
Defensive dragon.
I have watched so much film of defenders through the years because I love
Okay.
defenders. I love how they play, how they go about their defense. But when you see somebody like Ray and Rupert that has this it factor, and it's like, holy shit, like what is this guy capable of doing just on the defensive end? Now, I'm not even like I listen. I've spent a good 25 minutes watching different films of Ryan or Rayan, and I'm at I don't know a minute and a half into the one I currently have right now, and I'm filling it out. I don't even want to look at his offense right now because we'll get into his offense later. But his defense is the thing that I keep going back to is that anybody that has the ability to block shots like he does, anybody that has the ability to, I mean, listen, he picks up his defender at three-fourths of a court. He doesn't let his defender get back without pressure. He pokes the ball out so well. Like the things that he can do and see, I keep looking at him like, holy shit, like how good could he be in our system? Because every single time I see him, a guy get past him, right? You know what I see? I see
What?
Usman Jang coming out of the blocking and just blocking the shit out of somebody. Remember when he would do that in the G League, where or even in the NBA, where his defender would get past him and he would still get the block
Yeah.
because his closeout speed is so elite. But I watch Rayan, bro, and it's like he
Sub Tanner.
understands. He understands how to get to that spot to stop his defender. When do you allow his defender to get past him so he can get a block? Like his defensive mind is beyond anything I've seen for an 18-year-old ever. And I'm saying that with all due respect to the NBA players that have come out of the you know 18 years old, so have come out from high school essentially. And there's nobody that I've ever noticed what he's been able to do and close out. The ability that Rayan has
Sub Sam.
is elite. So again, as I'm going through this, I want to say his catch and shoot is amazing. I love the way that he's able to catch and shoot. I think that's going to be one of his true keys and strengths to being a dominant player in the league is the catch and shoot. He is one of the most amped up defenders I've ever seen. He has to take. I said a second ago that he guards a guy three-fourths of a court, bro. The reason Rayan does that is because he has so much like energy built up inside. Like he has to let it out, and I love it. Those type of energetic, those type of players that feed off of the energy in the crowd. You know, like those
Yep.
guys are fun to watch and be part of the team. I like the way that he plays defense on 1 through 3. And the fact is that he was in the playoffs, right? And I believe he was starting in the playoffs for the team. And the reason was is because he was the best defender on the team. He guarded the person that was their best playmaker, the best scorer, 1 through 3. And dude, that's crazy. You know, like an 18-year-old being able to step up and do that is truly spectacular. He covers ground quickly. Like I said, a guy will get past him, right? But his closeout speed is so crazy that he catches up to him. And it doesn't matter how slow or how fast the guy is that he's playing. It's crazy. Uh,
Hey, they're about to do some lawn work right below me. I gotta move, so keep going, bro.
yeah, yeah. His hands, man. I've noticed that the way that he is able to, whether it's poke the ball away, whether he's able to get the ball and get a tip. His hands are insanely fast. When it comes to how fast his hands are, I want to say that there's probably maybe 4 or 5 guys in the league that I've ever seen that has his hand speed coming into the league. So that's something to keep an eye on, because if he has really fast hands, he's got a catch and shoot ability. He can play make like motherfucker out there, getting stops on defense and getting up the court and throwing it down. He like a constant threat for playmaking. And again, one thing I want to say is we call Rayan the defensive dragon. And the reason we call him that is his ability on like is insane. It doesn't matter. I feel like he could guard the power forward position in a couple years once he puts the meat on his body. But if he doesn't ever put meat on his body, he still can always effectively guard 1 through 3 in the NBA. So if he puts meat on his body and he's able to guard 1 through 4, then we've got somebody that's truly spectacular there. And I say we got somebody because listen, again, I've watched a lot of players. I've watched a lot of different guys and how they would fit on this team. The fact that Rayan is 18 still, will be 19 probably soon. Like you have to take a chance with this player if you have an opportunity to draft him. Yeah, there might be a couple players that slip at 12, but there's going to be very few players that I look at saying this is it. Let's see what else we got. Like I said, he likes to go 3/4 of a court. He likes to pick up that defender because of his motor. He has an insane motor, guys. If he can get to that 1 through 4, that would be amazing. He loves to steal the ball, poke it out. It doesn't matter. If the point guard beats him, man, he's able to get his hand, poke out the ball, but not just poke out the ball. He's able to grab it and able to get up the court. And then I think his best attribute when push comes to shove is the ability to get back. And I've said it twice before, but his closeout ability to be able to get there once his defender passes him. He's able to get there, get the block shot, get the ball, put it back up the court. He is elite when it comes to this. And why he would fit so well with the Oklahoma City Thunder is because we don't need somebody going out there chucking up shots. We need somebody out there that is going to be able to set up and take a shot, which is exactly what Rayan does. He's a set shooter, right? And then on top of that, we need somebody that can get to the hole. Well, that's exactly what Rayan does. And then we need somebody that can play defense, like with the best of them. Well, I think he's the best defender in this draft. A lot of people will say, oh, no, he's not. But listen, I think he is for his age. I think when push comes to shove, I don't think you're going to see a better defender ready to go and play in the NBA better than him. Carson Wallace is amazing. I do think that he is going to be one of those guys that the Thunder are going to seriously look at. But when it comes to push to shove, I think Rayan is one of those guys that you just cannot deny. If we have the option between Carson and Rayan, I hope we get 2 picks, man, because I love Carson Wallace. But I'm looking at Rayan and I'm saying, as far as the Oklahoma City Thunder fit, he's what I would consider the best defender in the draft at his age. Not just that, but the way that he is able to get block shots after a player beats him. Dude, who else can do that? I mean, who else can do that in that closeout type of speed? It's crazy, man. Like, if you guys have not had an opportunity to watch Rayan, I highly recommend pulling right up right now and just looking at some video and highlights of defense, right? Then go highlights of offense, and then do highlights, right? You'll see an insane amount of defensive plays and impact plays consistently through every single game. And that's the type of guy we need. We need a guy like that can go out there and make an immediate impact right away. Yes, we have Dort. Yes, we have these guys and all that other stuff. But if you have an opportunity to pick up a guy that can play 1 through 3 with a possibility of playing a 4 position, and I think he's 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan. Come on, man. That is what Sam Presti loves.
Yeah. Go gadget arms. That's what we like to say.
I mean, I could be wrong here, and Rayan never makes it past, to us. But I mean, I look at J-Dub at the same time. Wasn't he at 18 or 19 in most draft? Like at this point he wasn't at the 12 mark at all. And Rayan's the same amount.
I don't even think he was top 20 at this point.
Yeah, like he didn't get to that point until later. So I do think that Rayan has some places to jump. I do think Carson Wallace is not going to be available to us at that 12 spot. In order for us to get Carson, I believe we'll have to trade up to probably number 9 for the Utah Jazz. But I don't know if we're going to do that. Like I look at this and I say, what are we going to do? Are we going to take the best player on the board at that place? And who's more, likely to be available, Carson or Rayan. And I say Rayan because at this point, like he's still the unknown guy. And at 18 years old, a lot of people would be like, well, we got a couple more years for him to be able to go out there and play. But you're right. But we still don't know what's up with this team. We don't know what's up with Jang. We don't know what's up with these other guys. So take a year of developing him, allowing us to understand where we need help with for the future this next year.
Yeah, man, Phantom. I think, but I just remember J Dub getting a lot of boost from the combine, and people being like, "Oh, he's the fastest climber of the combine." So you might be right that he was potential top 10, but for as far as like my awareness of him, he was outside that top 20, and then he started. I started hearing people talk about him top, in the lottery, and then I guess people who really know probably recognize that J Dub was going to be top, 15 picks, 12
Man,
picks
listen, I
earlier.
watched J Dub, and I mean, I love the style of play, but I didn't know if Sam Presti was going to go with J Dub style of play or go with Jang. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like,
So that's what I wanted to kind of think about with this one. Like, we have Jang, we have J Dub, and we got both of those guys, one at 11, one at 12. And they represent win now and get the most talented player available for winning later. Um, if we were to do an equivalent of that in this 11, who do we get at 12?
all right. So if let's just say Carson Wallace dropped, I think that he would be somebody that we would pick up. Dude, here's the reality, man. I keep going back and forth with this. Like, whether we pick up 11 and 12 or 12 and 13, you know, like to me, there's so much value in this draft, and I would love. I mean, personally, I would love to see the Thunder get, I think they say Bilala.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not
I'm
familiar
really
with
bad
his
with
game.
names, guys, but I love to see a player like that. That if we had an opportunity to get like 18 or something like that, and he dropped back in the draft, and we were able to pick him up, like I want to see us get
Is
value
he
in
the
this
guy that's on
draft.
the team with Victor? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that guy?
yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Same
then
guy.
I've seen him play a bit. Yeah,
He's
yeah,
great. He's
yeah.
great. But I just like to
That's
me
that
like I
wingspan you're talking about.
yeah, I want to see the Thunder get value in this draft more so than anything. Like I want to see them go out if it's Rayan and Carson or Carson and Bill. It doesn't matter the combination. Like there's so many amazing, talented players 10 through 18 in this draft, guys. And if Sam Presti is able to get a couple of these picks, it's over because it's going to be the same situation. He's going to get a player that's ready to contribute right away, and then he's going to get a player that's going to be good for development. And I keep looking at this and I'm like, first of all, I love the NBL. I think the NBL is a men's league. I think it's one of the best leagues in the country, especially for developing players. So when I see a player like Rayan playing in the NBL and being successful with the New Zealand Breakers, makes me excited. I'm like, this is what we could see, man. This is what we could see an athlete playing like. And I keep going back to it is that we need players like this that are ready to play and contribute. Might not be able to contribute right in the first 40 games, but after the 40 games is over, you better bet your ass that they're going to be contributing. Just like Jay Will, just like JRE, just like all these other players that after 40 games you start seeing them a shit ton. It's why because they've earned their space and they're ready to go.
All right. Bilal, Bilal. I don't know how to say his name, but I noticed when I watched his game, um, he's got what's his name from it's, the guy that they traded for KD. I forget his name off the top of my head, but future star. Everybody's all about him right now. He's got super long arms. Anyway, can't remember his name, so I'm gonna move on. But somebody will remember for me, I'm sure. But a prototype of what you would expect from like a defensive wing. Yeah, thank you, Archie. And his ability to, I think develop offensively because when you have that 7'2" wingspan with Mikhail, I was always like, I always felt like he didn't have a ceiling. In fact, that's why we started watching J Dub, is because when you are 6'6", 6'7", and you have a 7 foot plus wingspan, maybe you're not, the best scorer when you get to the league, but you can develop into being one of the best scorers if you dedicate yourself to the craft of scoring. So we've seen that
And
with Mikal Bridges, and
it's
I
hard.
think that we could see something similar. But heart, dedication, but really in the end, you got to be the first person at practice and the last person to leave, and that comes from.
Or you got to have an organization that puts team or player development so highly as above the rest of this stuff. Like the fact is that I guarantee you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder workout list, you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder and what they do to get the guys ready to play in the season. It's next level. I mean, and I truly mean that. Every single year, I see such a huge increase in play, and that's why when it comes to the season, man, like if we go 8-2 or 10-2, it's not going to surprise me in the beginning because of how these guys are getting ready for the season. And if we have a healthy off season, I'm telling you guys, these guys are going to be ready to go.
Absolutely, man. So, yeah, adding some players. Why we're still a young team, like probably gonna be still ranked in the top 5 youngest teams or something like history. So we don't anticipate really anybody playing 82 games. That's just not how we're gonna do it. With that said, and how things are going, there are going to be opportunities. Think about how different the roster, not
Dude,
players playing, were at the
last
beginning of the
30
season
games.
versus the end. Yeah,
Last 30 games. Let's talk about that. Last 30 games, we were all so excited because we felt like we knew what our starting lineup was going to be for next season. And then what happened? Jay Will, bam, and everybody's like, "Oh shit, how are we gonna have him play and Chet play?" Oh, and bro, and it just threw everybody off. It threw us off for a little bit because we're like, Jay Will needs to play more. And then that's when you came out and said, "We're not gonna have 5 starters. We're gonna have 6 guys." That are probably going to end up starting, that are going to rotate because we're going to have guys that are injured. We're going to have guys that are resting. We're going to have guys that are moving in and out of that rotation and consistently moving in. Why? Because Coach D likes to do that. He likes to mix up rotations constantly. I love it.
all right, all right. As far as like Mikal Bridges goes, no, I'm not hyping him because he was on a good team. Like the moment that the Suns drafted him, I've had a thing for like the Suns wings. You go back to PJ Tucker, TJ Warren, Mikal Bridges. Like I think they do a pretty good job drafting guys, but Mikal Bridges was the guy. I think it was like 3 years. He's the guy we want to get from the Suns, and it never worked out. But no, but long before the Suns were good, I was a big fan of Mikal Bridges.
Imagine if we got him for Chris Paul, bro.
I know Presti pushed for it.
I know.
I
It would have
have
been
no
crazy,
doubt
bro.
he
It
did.
would have been crazy,
They,
man.
well, because they knew he was good, and in the end, it took a player like KD to get them to move off of him. And in the end, we'll see what happens with his career. But to me, he looks like he could end up having a really nice time in um, Brooklyn. I just doubt that he'll be able to lead that team to playoff success, no matter how much I like him. You know what I mean?
He needs Ben
At the
Simmons
same
to
time.
step up for him.
Well, I mean, find a new home again.
Well, I mean, when I say step up, I mean it's either step up and help him out, play, or get traded and get a player there that can help him out.
yeah.
Because, like, I'll be honest with you, is I feel like if the Nets are smart right here, right, they could get rid of Ben Simmons and get a few draft picks for him right now, a couple draft picks for him, and then they have plenty of draft picks. They have their Shea of sorts ready to go. You know, Mikal or Bridges could be that guy for them. That Shea was, and then now you have enough draft picks to build around him. I feel like that would be much smarter, and then you could get rid of anybody else that you don't want to build around as well. You know, like gotta get back to the drawing board. There's so many teams out there that I'm looking at and saying if they don't strip down and rebuild, like they're gonna be literally handicapped for a decade because of the new bargaining agreement that was agreed upon in the new CBA. We're talking about 10 to 15 teams being handicapped and not being able to do jack shit at all. And then you look at the Thunder and be like, oh, they have cap space, they have young players. Gee, like what can they do this offseason? But everybody else is like, we got to get rid of players. We got to get rid of, Myers came out yesterday and was like, I don't think I'm coming back. Or somebody Woj wrote an article saying that he doesn't think he's coming back because there's so much stuff that needs to be done to change what's happening. It's mind boggling. People are scared shitless about this new CBA, and everybody's panicking of what they're supposed to do now.
For sure, man. So as this season starts to wrap up, bro, let's talk a little bit about this Eastern Conference final situation. Miami,
bro, you called
steals
that,
game
man.
one.
You called that. I was like, I don't think Miami's got this, bro.
Yeah.
Miami, Butler, what?
I mean, look, I get it. I haven't been able to watch every game this playoffs or anything because I've been in the middle of a move and everything. But so I haven't seen Jason Tatum's biggest moment, but I have noticed a number of the Celtics' lowest moments during this playoffs. And when you kind of like look for a pattern amongst, you notice that in crunch time they lack identity. Now, you can say whatever you want. There's a lot of flaws with things they don't have as a flaw. They don't lack crunch time identity. They know what they're trying to do. They're all on the same page of trying to do it. So if it's a close game, like a 4-point game, like you got to think Miami, even at Boston,
Yeah.
probably got the edge because they know what
they're
trying to get
better
done.
coached at this point. Like Eric's been here before. He's got the talent, even though they got a bunch of injured guys. They all know what's going on.
There's tactician, X's and O's, call play, know the timeout situation, know when to use your challenge type coaching. Then there's like your team plays with an identity type coaching. And I just don't see that. And I don't see the end of the game identity. I see regular game identity. I see like they know what they're doing, but as soon as it gets crunch time, as soon as the possessions become intense, I'm like, you got to like Miami in those. Austin could make
But that's
it so
why I
it's not a
like the
series.
Lakers as well, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
I was shocked. I was shocked the Lakers like lost this at the last part there. Like the East and West to me is crazy right now. I mean, you've got really two seasoned teams in the West, and you've got two young teams in the East. I mean, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump and comment real quick on Phantom, and then we'll jump back and we'll talk about the West. But as far as Miles Bridges goes, there was definitely a player missing. Melo didn't have a threat to throw it up. I've admired Miles Bridges for years. Obviously, there's just some drama that needs to be dealt with or whatever. But the one thing that was always that thing was the Hornets and Shea and Miles Bridges. They're like boom, 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 one pick before Shea, and I think that's been settled. Miles is the better of the Bridges.
Spitzer.
Everybody to each their own, but Shea is the guy. Miles has a good career. I hope he gets everything figured out. One of my favorite players to watch over the last few years, for sure. Athletically, the way he drops the hammer. So hopefully he figures that out and he gets it all back. But dude, this Eastern Conference Finals, special.
Fun shit.
What happens if the Heat steal Game 2?
What happens? I mean, it's at this point, the Heat looks so much more focused than Celtics. Man, I'll be honest with you, is that this is the first time that I've ever is watching Game 1 that I'm like, this could be a sweep or it could be a 4-1 at the end. Like that's how bad the Celtics, in my opinion, they just didn't look like they were all there. Even at the end of the game when they're supposed to be stepping up, it was just like something was missing, and it was just like, I don't know if it was just they're so tired and their output wasn't great, which it could be, right? But if they don't figure it out in Game 2, and that's again what I'm questioning. I mean, I picked them in Game 1 to win, but I mean, what it comes down to is heart. Like they're gonna have to dig deep, and if they can find out how to do that, man, they'll
You
be
think
all right. I saw them do it in game 6, you know, and then game 7, but sometimes when teams do that back to back, it's hard to win the next series because you literally have nothing.
you think Jason Tatum just needs to be told he's loved more? Would that solve their problems?
Did you see I think he knows that he's loved. I mean, like, did you see his locker room in the Celtics locker room? Next to
No.
his locker is his son Deuce's locker.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think he knows that he's loved because anybody that's allowed to have their son in the locker room and part of the team like that, you know they're special.
Humbly, I'm one of the best players in the world. That was, I've never heard somebody say humbly and immediately follow it up with
Well,
something
he did
that
say
was,
one of. He didn't say I am. He said one of the best players in the world. He said humbly because he didn't want to be like I'm the greatest because
humbly.
he's not. Because
Humbly.
humbly, he's just good.
One of the greatest.
Always be funny.
I mean, I'm glad he should let other people say that about him.
Yeah.
You should not. But I mean, I guess you're answering an interview. Like, why did you still have confidence that you were going to come through? I mean, I guess it does answer the question, but it was one of the most ironic statements I've ever heard. Humbly, I'm one of the greatest players in the world.
I mean, touche, right?
Touche.
I
So
mean,
you're gonna say the Lakers are gonna come out and get the win, or are you gonna say
dude, at this point I think the Lakers do get the win.
what? Okay, so there's been a lot of analysis part about the playoffs, right? Right, adjustments, but a lot of conversation has come about Anthony Davis being able to stand underneath the basket guarding Aaron Gordon in the dunker spot, and JJ Redick went all out saying he hates the dunker spot. It's a pointless spot. Players should not be stationed there. And putting
Exactly what a shooter would say.
And what Aaron Gordon being there allowed Anthony Davis to help. And he said, if we learned anything from the previous series, is that you got to get Anthony Davis away from the basket so he can't cover the basket. Did Denver play in to the Lakers' hands going into the fourth quarter? Now, they were able to get the win, but it went from like 26-point lead to close game. And then a lot of people are assuming the Lakers made some adjustments. They figured a few things out that those are going to be able to impact the game. But if the adjustments were made mid-game, then the Nuggets will have a chance to readjust. So, I mean, this is the chess match that makes the game so much fun. And we're only one game into this series, so it's going to be a blast. But now I'll give you the floor. You tell me what you think is going to happen.
Yeah, I think that this is a chess match between two coaches. I mean, the reality is that as much as I want to say that this is going to come down to the players, the reality is that it's going to have to come down to Coach Malone, and Coach Ham making the decisions to change things up when they need to change things up. Because you're right, if he had changed things up and made Gordon go out, it would have been a little bit easier for everybody to move around. But the problem is, are you going to sit a player like Gordon and not play him at all on offense? That's the difficult part of it all, because having three forwards out there and big forwards out there is the reason why you're able to have that lead. So are you going to give up that ability to have that, or are you going to give up the ability to have a better, I mean, you got a better defense or a better offense? What are you going to do? I mean, to
Now,
me, I want a better defense in the time being. Put Aaron Gordon out there.
If I was drawing up the Lakers game plan, and I'm clearly not at the level, but my goal would be AD, you go one-on-one all game Jokic. He might score 50, you put up 40. What we're going to have is we're going to have the rest of the guys. It's going to be a 4-on-4 game, and our rest of the guys include LeBron. Yeah, but we got LeBron, so this is going to be a hell of a series, and it's going to be 4-on-4. AD and Jokic are going to cancel each other out at best. Like, you got to be like AD. You got to put up some level of wearing him out
plus.
over 7 games.
Well,
right?
and the problem is that when Joker takes AD out, and he's done that multiple times, he's obviously knows what to do to AD to get him on his skates, And that's the problem, is that now he's already in AD's head. So AD's going to have to either learn,
Yeah.
or
right.
you're going to have to stick LeBron on Joker.
No, you can't do that, because you need you need LeBron to be at his best in Game 7, and so there's moments where you can do that if you have to, but like you got to save that for like a Game 7 strategy, right? Like, okay, so what I noticed, you said he get Jokic's shot making really did end up getting into AD's head. There was that three he hit at the buzzer, and AD just stared him down.
And there was a couple passes that just
Right.
fooled AD. Like, well, like I'm not picking on AD because he's a phenomenal player. I'm just more stating the facts that
Right. Think about your Lou Dort, right? Lou Dort plays his best defense, and people still hit tough shots over him. And what does he do? He like shakes it off, goes to the next play, and says like, over the course of the game,
they're only
I'm
going to be
gonna
able to
wear
do
you
that a few
down.
times.
But AD was like, oh, this is your night, isn't it? It was like he like NBA Jam when they get on fire. He's like, oh, you're on fire. I better not touch you. Like that's not how you do it. You start picking. You make him shoot the ball off balance more. How Jokic can knock down shots like that? I would say 5 out of 7 games in a series. He's gonna have a couple games where he doesn't. So you're gonna have to win a couple of games where he
Simple,
like.
bro.
But you can do it unless here's the thing: the only way you can't do it is if LeBron has to carry you, and AD goes MIA. Then you're playing 3-on-4, right? And the
It's hard.
at what they do. Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing. It's hard, bro. Like watching the Nuggets tear apart, and yes, they adjusted. The Lakers adjusted and got them in the game in that fourth quarter. But I'm looking at it more like the adjustments that has to happen in game 2 for the Lakers to stay in this. Yeah, you can go down 0-2 going back to the LA.
We know they can.
But the reality though is that the situation you're in is that you if you can't figure out something that's going to work in game 2, then the Denver is not going to change anything. They're just going to keep on going at you in that same exact stuff, and that's what you can't have right now because they haven't figured out a way to stop it. So for me, that's what I'm looking at. There has to be adjustments made by coaches. Who's going to be the better adjustment maker at the moment? I don't know, because Coach Malone's been in this situation before. Coach Ham has been an assistant coach in so many places and played in this situation. So ultimately, it's going to come down to who steps up and becomes the real MVP, as KD would say. Man, I'm excited though. It's fun to watch. The chance that there could be 2 low seeds that make the NBA Finals is cool.
Do you think that people are making too much of we'll call it the George Carlification of Mike Malone? Like it almost feels like people are starting to put them in the same category of what you can win the most games in the regular season, but that Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Netflix Shrimp, I don't know how to say his name right. I said that all wrong, guys. But
A shrimp.
A shrimp. But he like you'll get it done, but you're finals, and at that point you're gonna crumble. Like I don't know exactly how it goes, bro, but I feel like Mike Malone and George Karl are sort of getting that label. Mike Malone needs to get this championship, otherwise, like he might get in that friend zone.
Bro, this
forever.
is the perfect opportunity for him. He either gets a Celtics team that's not clicking on all levels if he gets there, or he gets an 8 seed. I mean, like, there's never going to be a better chance for him to get a championship. There's never be a better chance for LeBron to get a championship, or Butler to get a championship, or, Tatum and Brown. Like, this is the perfect opportunity for somebody to step up and become the ultimate star and get a championship. And who's that going to be, dude? I don't know. But I do see Jimmy Butler going the fuck off. But the question is that if it's Jimmy versus LeBron, is it Jimmy versus Joker? Or is it Tatum versus Joker? Like, this is going to be crazy. It's going to be fun because we have a legit opportunity to see some crazy upsets that happen. We've already seen crazy upsets.
Let's talk 2-man game, okay? You got Jokic Murray, LeBron AD, Jimmy and Bam, Jason, and Brown.
Yeah.
So here's my question, bro. Who is the best out of those 4? Just the 2-man game.
man, I know what Joker's doing right now, and I respect it with Murray, playoff Murray, as Tobias says there, or not Tobias. I'm sorry,
Phantom.
Phantom. Thank you. You know, like playoff Murray and Joker are playing amazing together, but in my opinion, at this point, I'm still looking at LeBron and AD because if they get in a 40-40 games, which I know they can, there's nobody that's going to stop them. Like when I say there's nobody that's going to stop them, if LeBron gets 40 and like 12 and 10, you know, and he starts doing shit like that we all know he can. I mean, what's Denver going to do? Like, how are they going to stop, you know, LeBron going off like that? And then if LeBron's going off like that, you know, AD is going to be wide open in so many buckets in so many situations. And if that's what happens, like nobody in the NBA is going to be able to play with him. I don't know if LeBron has it left in his tank. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant on this. But if you had asked me before the playoffs started, and you're saying out of these four teams, what has the better duo? I would say Tatum
Right.
and Brown, right?
Right.
Because in that what they were playing amazing at the end of the season. But now I'm looking at it and saying they're tired, they're worn out. I have to say is that I feel like Jimmy and Bam are in a better situation than Brown and Tatum right now. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if I'm raking him, I'm saying the West is winning as far as 1-2, but then after that, you've got, I'm sorry, Tatum, Brown, you're last. Jimmy, Bam, you're third, guys. Like, that's just the
So
way I think.
I was gonna say, I mean, this is incredible. I was gonna say first of all, Bam and Jimmy are the best 1-2 combination left in the playoffs. Uh,
Interesting.
and I think
Bam's playing the best
there's
out of anybody, but not Bam. I'm sorry, Jimmy.
Jimmy, but here's why I think Bam has another level he can go. And I wonder if I know AD can like play at a top level, but I
Yeah.
wonder who would you trust. And you know, from here on out, if you say there's 15 games left in there's not though. I mean, there's less. So you're talking about at this point, like 12 games left in the season. And you need 12 games for sure. I'm thinking you're gonna be more reliable with Bam in that situation. Jimmy for sure has already proven that he's probably the player of this playoff. So as long as Bam is, you know, top five, the rest of the guys, then that puts him the best 1-2 in my opinion. But I said it. We were coming into this playoffs, and you asked like, who would you, if you were going to build around the Miami, who would you take? And I said, without question, it'd be Bam.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, it's got to be Jimmy. And I think in the end, like we were answering different questions. It was for me, it was like if you're starting a franchise from zero, who's younger, who's going to be able to produce for longer and help, who can you really build a team around?
Sure.
In the end, though, the way that they work together, like that's a really incredible 1-2 combination. But when you look down the list of what the production from the team, Jimmy put up 35, Bam put up 28 and 5, but they had four guys who put up 15 points. Like that's going to be the difference maker in these series. It's we can talk about the 1-2 combinations all we want, right? But if you get 60 points from four other guys, like that's where it's going to be the difference. So who's going to get most production off the bench? So Celtics, Heat, Lakers, and Nuggets. I would say you're talking about maybe not just the bench, but outside of the top two.
Nobody uses their bench, bro. Who like I was looking at the benches, man, and like Lakers went
I
three
said
deep.
bench. I just
four
should have
deep.
said non-superstars. But really, if you're talking non-superstar, what's going to produce is a system, a coaching staff, and having like depth in the role players. And you got to look at the Heat, and you're like, man, they were looking really good. The Celtics have like 6 starters, and then after that, it gets kind of soft. The Nuggets, they have depth, but they really rely on their system to produce open shots. When that's Mike Malone, and he's got that. But in the end, can you count on that in a 7-game series against the Lakers when they make the type of adjustments? I don't think so. Those types of systems have really shown to not be consistent. They can get it done, but usually in the years where something weird is happening, and that's one of those years, like you said, they can either get a soft. If they get past the Lakers, the Nuggets could end up with a
Giannis
soft
did it, man.
1 seed, or
Yeah.
a tough 8 seed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Giannis. I mean, I felt like they almost won by default because of when they were playing with Golden State. Golden State was so injured. They limped into the finals barely. I mean, barely got to the finals. So again, there's just moments that's like, whoa, well, I wasn't expecting that. But it happens. And if Jimmy or Jokic or whoever is able to pull it off, that's cool. But again, in these situations, 9 out of 10 times, the team that's been there before and won it before is going to somehow squeeze it through. Somehow, one way or the other, they're going to squeeze one through. So
You're calling the
that's what I keep looking at is like, who is the coaching
Miami
staffs? Who has done this
versus
before?
Lakers finals matchup. That's what you're calling, aren't you?
Well, I've said since Lakers won the first round and since Heat won the first round, I was like, man, I hope an 8 and 7 team make it because it really increases the value in the playoff playing games, guys. Think about that. You had a team that got won the first game, and they got to go. And you had the other team that had to play that was it second game. They didn't win the first game, but they got I think they won the second game, so they lost one. And anyways, they got the 8 seed. Like this is valuable. This is great. This is great for the NBA. It was great for the Major League Baseball when they did it, and they opened it up to wild card. So for me, this is the same exact opportunity here. Is that this just increases the value of getting into that play in, and it gives a team that's young that might have what I would consider not a lot of chance to get to the finals, be able to do it. And I said it. I felt the Thunder were the team that could have really upset the Nuggets early on. After that, it was going to be hard to beat the Nuggets.
Dude, I love it, man. Well, it's gonna get crazy. Keep sticking around, everybody. We appreciate your input. This has been a lot of fun, and this season is just gonna get wild and wilder. So,
Yes.
does anybody know what day the draft is? I think it's like usually around like June 17th. Up, just guessing, but we're gonna try to more information as that gets closer, and just put that up live. That's what we want to do. As always, keep it wild.
What do you think the predictions are, like percentage chances that Sam adds another pick or moves up in the draft to pick his player?
I'm not good at this.
Oh, come on, man. Give me 40%, like 30%. You think it's 50-50?
I'd have to go with something simple like 50-50. Like, I think last year threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
Like, it was all the way into the last second that I realized that we got both players. Like, the information came out slow. It was like, I thought we were trading back one spot. I thought we were maybe trading up
70,
a spot.
30. 70% chance that Sam adds another first round pick or moves up in this draft.
All right.
Because
70-30.
I'm looking at our draft picks for the next few years, recognizing what we have. This is the year, bro. This is the year that I think that Sam Presti either moves up either really, really far or just a couple spots and cashes in all the other draft picks that we have this year. And we go from there. Or he adds a second first round pick and gets rid of the two second round picks. So I'm all for it, man. It's going to be fun to see.
It is. Tobias, I agree with what you're saying about the Thunder and how we're going to be able to compete with the Final Four team. I think this upcoming year is going to be really legit. I dig what you've been saying, Dave, about us having a chance to get off to a really fast start and almost even have a chance to run away with the West. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a race at the end, but if top 5, that'll be good enough for us anyway. Phantom is saying Lakers and Nuggets is going to be all Nuggets, and then it's going to be Nuggets and Heat in the finals. We appreciate that. Anybody else, tell us what you think will be the finals matchup, and then give us, think of Lakers in 6 or how many games, whatever you think. Let us know. We will be back. Thanks for joining us, everybody.